Hello, and welcome to Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older. I'm your host, as you might have guessed, Bill Monty. Just a reminder, this show is not about being old. It's about understanding the world that we are growing older in, how we care for each other, how we protect what we've built, and how we make sense of the systems that are supposed to look out for us, especially when we need them the most. This season is Season 3. The system we're talking about is our government. Now, quick disclaimer here, this episode contains commentary and personal opinions on civic topics intended for educational and reflective discussion. The content is not intended to promote harm, hostility, or unlawful activity, but to encourage thoughtful dialogue, civic awareness, and peaceful engagement.
Welcome to Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older.
All right, so welcome everyone. It is time to look at what has been happening in the world since we last spoke. Let's take a quick glance at some of the top things that our beloved leader has done in the last week. Well, there was excluding Democrats from the governor's meeting. The president reportedly has blocked Democratic governors, specifically Wes Moore of Maryland and Jared Polis of Colorado, from an upcoming annual meeting at the White House, which breaks a long-standing tradition of bipartisanship in the National Governors Association gathering. I'm so sick of this partisan crap. And I know we've had it all for a very long time, but the president is taking it to new levels. This is the warning, folks. This is the warning. He's trying to delete the opposing party. And if you're a Republican and you're thinking, oh, good, well, finally, remember, Republicans are not necessarily MAGA, and MAGA are not necessarily Republicans. If Republicans start speaking up like they are starting to do against Donald Trump, then the party he might try to get rid of next is yours. Beware. The warning signs are out there. How about his comments on the ICE shootings? In an interview on NBC, which is set for Super Bowl Sunday, Trump comments on the fatal shooting of two individuals by ICE agents in Minneapolis. Just so we don't forget their names, by the way, Alex Preddy and Renee Good. Alex Preddy and Renee Good. Alex Preddy and Renee Good. And what did he say about them in light of this horrible thing that happened? Well, he was not an angel, and she was not an angel. Wow. At any time can this man rise above the muck and junk that he lives in and try to say something that resembles a kind or understanding or empathetic remark. I'm waiting. I waited for 4 years in the first term. I'm waiting since January 20th for this term for him to say something that resembles kindness in any way, shape, or form. As you can imagine, his comment of he was not an angel, she was not an angel, has been criticized as insensitive, I hope by both sides, by everyone. I mean, who reads this? Moving on. The Trump administration is currently continuing to aggressively push to reclassify thousands of federal workers. Why? It makes them easier to fire. I didn't know he was having a problem firing people. So for the guy who ran on he was going to bring back jobs and bring back the economy and do everything right, he seems to be offering people a chance to leave their jobs for which he's going to pay them for a year, or just out and out finding ways to fire people. Does no one see what's wrong here? Does no one see what's going on here? I hope you do. Next, he wants to nationalize elections. Friends, by the way, all this just happened in the past 7 days. I'm not going back that far here. Push to nationalize elections. He has doubled down on calls for the federal government to take over voting in the United States. Let me say that again in case one of your earbuds fell out. He is calling for the federal government to take over all voting in the United States, take it away from the states and give it to the federal government. Gee, what could go wrong? I know, I don't have an answer either, because everything could go wrong. I can't believe states are going. I can't believe that this story came out, and it came out 2 days ago from when I'm recording this. It came out 2 days ago, and this is not national headlines. This is not people rioting in the streets. This is not Republicans and Democratic and independent senators and members of the House rising up and saying no. It has been criticized by both Democrats and some Republicans, such as Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who questioned the wisdom of trying to control all 50 state election systems. He didn't really come out and criticize or say, no, this is a bad idea, Mr. President. He just says, well, how are we going to do it? The wrong question, the complete wrong question. And then today, this is one of my favorite Trumpisms, Donnie Dollhands posted a video of President Barack Obama and his wife, Michelle Obama. And in it, he depicted them as apes. I don't know. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I feel like I have to repeat this because if you didn't know about this story, you're probably thinking, oh, I didn't realize that Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older was a fiction podcast. He shared a video on Truth Social that included a racist depiction of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama as apes. Now, later on in the day, it was removed after everyone started losing their stuff over it. And what does the White House have to say about it all? First, they just said, it's not so bad. It was just a meme. As if it being a still picture. Am I in the Twilight Zone? As if it being a still picture was better than it being a video. And then later claiming, it was just erroneously posted by a staffer, which of course led to further mockery and criticism. So what are we to believe here? That there is a staff who has access to the president's Truth Social account and can just put anything up there that he wants? Is that what it is? Is that what we have going on here? Or do we have a president who might be slightly off-center and posting things that every normal human being would find reprehensible and offensive? And I don't care if you are a fan of Barack Obama's or Michelle Obama's or not. There's no way, unless you are the lowest dregs of society, there is no way that you can defend this. Not from the president. Not from the president of the United States. This is unacceptable on all levels. I don't care what your personal or political beliefs are. And now he's also decided that he's going to close the Kennedy Center. I guess because putting his name on it didn't quite get what he wanted. All the acts, all the musicals are pulling out. No one wants to perform there. I thought he would just set up residency for Kid Rock or whatever that guy's name is. Or some of the other. Maybe John Voight could just read Shakespeare for the next 365 days. But no, he's decided that this dilapidated, worn-out, old, disgusting theater needs to be closed for renovations. He's going to tear this down like he did the West Wing of the White House. And by the way, just like the White House, he actually can't do that without congressional approval. But what do you bet that sometime between now and July 4th, when he says it's going to happen, this renovation is going to start, that the Kennedy Center will be demolished. And who knows what he will put up in its place. It's unbelievable. It's unacceptable. And he's doing this not because he really believes this is what's needed to make the Kennedy Center, and I'm not going to call it his name in the Kennedy Center. It's the Kennedy Center. Not because he believes it will make it better. He's doing it because his pride has been hurt. And I want to say something here, folks. If we have the person as the president of the United States whose ego is so fragile that the musical Hamilton pulling out can make him do something like this, let's remember, this is a man who can set off nuclear weapons without anyone's approval. He doesn't need to call someone for a second code, doesn't need to do anything. He can start a nuclear war in the middle of the night, sitting there on Truth Social and social media, putting out his mad rantings to the world. And if it's in his mind He believes he has been wronged enough. Maybe it's not just the Kennedy Center he wants to destroy. Maybe it's everything. We have been on this planet long enough. If you are like me, you know this is not the way it's supposed to be. What does this have to do with a guide for getting older? I said it before for this season. I'm going to keep saying it. I know this is a bit off track. I always said I was never going to make this a political podcast, but I cannot sit here, as I hope you are not sitting there, as someone who is old enough to know and remember, even when things weren't great, that this is not the way it's supposed to be, and we have to speak up. We have to say something. We have to do something. My God, our citizens are being killed on the streets of our cities. Young children are being taken by ICE and detained and taken to states far away from where they live. People are trying to deport other American citizens without due process. We have to say something. We have to do something. We have to be the change that we want in the world. These are critical times. This is not the time to sit back and say, oh, it'll get better. Or I've even been guilty of this, saying we've been here before. Friends, we have never been here before. Not during Nixon, not during Reagan, and you can't even go back to anyone else. Andrew Johnson, I guess, was the one before that was considered a horrible president. Whatever you want. Raise your voice. Call your senator and congressman, who I assume actually does want to do the right thing, except for a few. They work for us. We don't work for them. We put them there. We have got to stop treating these people like they're doing us a favor. They're trying to fire us, and we are the employers. You know, what really ticks me off is I had a whole nother thing I was going to do, really tied into about getting older and about the NFL. So I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to save that for the next go-round. I promise we'll get to it, even though it's Super Bowl Sunday coming up, so it'll be a little bit late for it all. I just hope we're around after Super Bowl Sunday. I hope someone doesn't say something during the halftime show that ticks this guy off. Dangerous times. So remember to really show as much kindness and empathy as he cannot show. Let's try to double up and do what he cannot. It's a very tense world right now. We've been here before. Let us be the leaders to hopefully guide us to a better place. That is the point, my friends, of A Guide for Getting Older, Season 3. And I have to say it, that's why it's titled, Get Off of My Lawn, Donnie Dollhands. I hope you'll take a moment to support the show by liking and commenting and sharing and subscribing. That really helps the show. You can leave me a message by going down into the show notes and just clicking on the Leave Me a Message link. You can send me a 90-second voicemail. I want to do a shout-out to George and to Randy and to David and to Joshua. Everyone who's been coming up and supporting me with this new direction and telling me to keep going and to keep doing it, that what I'm saying is needed, that it needs to be voiced. Thank you. That's the support that I need. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Until next time, my friends, be safe. Watch your back.
If it's warm outside but you're feeling colder, not sure what to do without a friendly shoulder, you're not alone, so start feeling bolder. Welcome to Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older.
Does the news cycle make you feel like you're on a tilt-a-whirl of outrage? Feeling like your brain is a political piñata getting whacked 24/7? There's an antidote. Outrage Overload is the podcast where we hit the pause button on the outrage train. We dissect the headlines, peel back the layers of negativity, and explore the science behind why you keep wanting to throw your phone at the wall. Before you lose another brain cell to outrage fatigue, check out the Outrage Overload podcast at outrageoverload.net or wherever you get your podcasts.